I've been trying to find good people for so long. I'm tired, bro.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Sometimes, like, late nights, I just cry.
I feel like a lot of people who at some point were very open, were very friendly, they got to see the reality of life. They got to see what people respected. They got to see what people respond to. And oftentimes people don't treat kind, open, nice people with respect. They treat them with disdain, with manipulation, you see. So those people tend to now become quite cold, reserved, selfish. And then they find out that, oh, being cold, being distant, being selfish actually works, and it gets me results.
Taking a break from the computer work that I was doing that sometimes drives me a bit to frustration, I stumble upon the Growing Man's podcast, and he's speaking to something that is very real with quote unquote good guys dealing with today's world. If you're trying to be the nice guy, the good guy, the guy that, you think you're supposed to be, sometimes you just don't see it rewarded, and it can drive you to being more cold. And it's an inner battle that even I deal with, because it's so easy to surrender to the, you know what, maybe I should just be the bad guy because the bad guy is going to give me better results. And that back and forth is something that's prodded and poked at us because we just have so many triggers, especially as decent trying to be black men, all around us.
I'd be lying to you to tell you that I didn't have days where, it just got extremely heavy. You kind of just shut down, take a moment to yourself to kind of regroup.
You don't have to do much except open your phone to see certain kinds of memes like black men being the only men on the planet to create a soft men era to justify not wanting to provide in a marriage. And if you're someone who has been productive or trying to be productive, and this is the first thing that you see in your phone, your natural instinct is going to be to reply or to have some kind of visceral reaction saying, no, that's not me, I can prove it. And going back and forth from the trying to be productive to the outrage and then eventually the fatigue, it wears on us. And I think what's really important for us, and I'm speaking specifically about black men in this instance, is that we have to focus on the pilot light that's in us, that joy that makes us want to do things besides work, that makes us want to be productive people or keep going. We have to keep that pilot light on and keep it healthy, because if we allow these kinds of things to get the better of us, they can take a toll in us.
I'm trying to do my best, and I think the weight to try to live up to everybody's perfect expectation of me has been really, really heavy for a long time.
But when a man says, I'm tired, inquire, probe, demand him to elaborate, because tired is different. Tired doesn't mean sleepy. Tired can mean that I'm tired of living, tired of going on, tired of moving forward, tired of just dealing with this life, tired of losing. And you know that your man does not take losing well. And you know that your brother does not take losing well. And you know that your father does not take losing well. Do you know that your son does not take losing well?
As I've come to understand masculinity in my 40 some odd years of life, I understand that there's a very fine line between experiencing and understanding your emotions and being emotional. And for many of us, if you're unfortunately raised away from a father figure, you tend more emotional than to understand your emotions and maybe even harness your emotions in a very positive way. But that's part of our experience. And if you don't have anyone to help you regulate your emotions, if you don't have someone there that's loving you through the difficulty of life, it's very easy for your hot emotions to take over you and they will burn you up. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the humanity that is still in us and that we need to recognize it, even if the world around us doesn't.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm going through a lot of shit right now. I'm going through a lot of shit, bro. I'm going through a lot of shit, bro. I feel like I can't take this shit no more.
On this channel, I speak specifically of the black male experience because I'm a black man, and for me it's apropos, but we have to be careful in the social media age to not get goaded into nonsensical conversations like the one that's happening now, of a growing number of young ladies saying on social media that they would prefer to be in the woods with one of these animals over a man who, the overwhelming number of men, have never committed crimes, have never been to jail, have never committed a violent act against a female, a woman. But if you're trying to be a accomplishing, well-to-do guy that's doing well more so than he's hurting people, which is the overwhelming majority of guys, and then you open your app and you're hearing a chorus of young ladies saying they would prefer this to you, then it just reinforces that part of you inside of you that wants to have the visceral reaction of, no, I can prove that I have value. And we have to move away from that conversation to a more healthy one for our sake.
Being in community is supposed to mean something. It means we show up for each other. It doesn't mean you show up when you want this guy or this man to show up and put his body in the way of whatever danger is coming your way, but you don't want to show up for him when society decides that he and people like him are going to be warehoused in jail. When
you heard her say it. Now, I've said this for many years. Like I said, I've said it for many years, and every now and then I'll get angry about it. But for whatever reason, this clip and just that portion hurt. I mean, you know, the black pill is not always as dense as it should be. And the armor that I have, as far as I have for that, is not always as dense as it should be. That hurt because it was so true. And to hear it come from a woman's voice, chastising women, chastising the Democrats, chastising the black community about the abandonment of black men and the transactional, because it's always transactional for us. They can be 200 pounds, they can be ugly, they can have 6 kids, and they think they deserve the best just because they're being. But for black men, we got to have all the check boxes. It's transactional. If we can't sling good sex or 6 figures, then we're trash or we're less than.
The movie Glory will always have a special place in my heart because it's the story of a group of disposable men that made the ultimate sacrifice to prove their manhood. And for the group of guys that know that I have a special place for the 54th Regiment, here it is.
Get out, 54th!
For all of the people watching this video, and for the special group of guys that know why I put this clip in this video, I just want to say that we have to remember that our humanity is more than just what we can produce. We are people. And as men, as people, we have to stay connected to the inherent goodness that makes us the humans that we are. Because the more that we get separated from that and try to be just people that do things or people that are dealing with emotions out of a response of being undervalued, it takes our humanity away from us. And I'll say this in closing. Be mindful of that pilot light that's inside of you, because if you get into the right situation where the environment around you appreciates what you're doing for it and it's giving back to you, it's going to not only turn your pilot light up, but it's going to turn you into a person that maybe that you didn't see that you could be. And I could say this from personal experience as someone who volunteered to coach basketball for a decade plus and what it gave back to me. Don't let the surroundings that you're in consume you or prod you into being a person that you don't like. Instead, focus on being the person that you can be so that when the opportunity arises and you have the chance to be the guy you really want to be, you're not disillusioned and cold and your humanity has been stripped away from you. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.